Good Saturday afternoon for those who are catching this live, for those who are catching the replay. Good glorious day, whatever day you're catching this. We are on day 6 of Reclaiming Power with Rachelle, my own divinely guided live stream to my dream downloaded vision here that literally was downloaded and 4 days later it started. And sometimes that's how the universe works. Because why? We're going to sit there and we're going to let ourselves talk ourselves out of things if we take too long sometimes. Sometimes the universe says, just jump. I'll catch you. Hello, Goddess Therese. So excited for you to join today. Yay! Cheers. Cheers to all my fellow tea drinkers. Coffee, if you're having that. But I'm a tea person. I think I may hold on to that for a moment today. Woo! Let's start with this as you come on, as you're watching the replay. Let me know how you're feeling right now, how things are going for you in your world. Stressed, feeling overwhelmed by chance, maybe? Yep, that's the topic of the day today. Yesterday, we talked about fear. Today, we're going to talk about stress and overwhelm. And I have to admit, goddesses, today, I mentioned yesterday was a bit of a rabbit hole trip. Almost. This morning, definitely more of the same. More of the, well, there's the word overwhelm. More of the stressors, the triggers, the fears, the doubts, the worries, the unknowns of this crazy wild world we're all in. And that's the very thing that leads to stress and overwhelm, or all the expectations and obligations that we think we have, those that we place upon ourselves, those that are placed upon us by society. Then we got standards, especially, when it comes to ourselves, and we like to set the bar so high. The ego does that, by the way. We'll talk more about that later, but the ego does that. Sets the bar so astronomically high, and then doesn't give you any ladder or plan to get there. But all of a sudden, that stress, that overwhelm to achieve that becomes just unbearable, becomes too much. So let me tell you, I am leading by example, as the universe has always put me in that position too. Leading by example of what it is to be in something and be going and growing through something, again, fulfilling that commitment that we made at the very beginning of all of this, right? In case you haven't caught the first episodes, because we're on number 6 here. Number 6. I can get enough fingers out here. Number 6. Then you definitely want to go back and catch up and, binge the others on my YouTube channel. Yes, those of you catching the replay there now. Binge watch these and really look at them from the perspective of, okay, she's reclaiming her power. I want to be reclaiming my power. So let me watch what she's sharing about, what she's teaching about, what she is doing herself. And then I am also going to be doing that for myself. Right? And that's how it works. That's how we all lead by example in our own lives, is we reclaim our power and we show by example for others to do the same in theirs. Can't really save someone else. They have to save themselves. Just like we each have to save ourselves. most often and most notably from ourselves. We are ultimately our own worst enemies if we are not our own best friends. Another sip, shall we? All right. Stress. Let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Stress. Strain. It's a noun. Strain. A force that strains or deforms. I mean, think about that on you. Stress. And that effect on you. See, really quick, for those who are new around here, we like to know exactly what we're talking about. So we like to define these words. We like to be clear with exactly our energy, our intention, and what it is we're reclaiming our power in, from, through, all of that. All right? So stress. Stress. Mental or physical tension is also what stress is. Other words for it: tension, burden, fear, intensity. That's why yesterday was its own video on fear, and today has its own experience video on stress and overwhelm. And so then, speaking of overwhelm, let's define that. And in the context of my using stress and overwhelm, I'm actually using overwhelm in the context of a noun, meaning a thing, like that which is the overwhelm. All right? However, we're going to look at, by definition, it is a verb. So it's real easy to view this through that perspective of it being a thing, like we like to do in our society, is, you know, kind of have our little slang terms. So you can, in that same respect, call it the overwhelm. Oh, the never-ending story just popped into my head. What am I thinking about? That just popped into my head when I say the overwhelm. I'll give you a few moments here. I'll define it, and then we'll discuss that really quick. And let me know. So overwhelm as a verb, it is an action. It's to overwhelm you, to pour down upon and bury beneath is literally one of the definitions of the word overwhelm. It's a pour down upon and bury beneath. And there it is. Yes, Goddess Therese, the darkness. How absolutely divine is it that we're talking about the overwhelm? And those of us, especially us Gen Xers or I'm a Xennial is what I actually am. I'm right on the cusp of an Xer. But we're that never-ending story, at least as far as I know, that was my generation. And it's called the darkness. Actually, Therese, it's the darkness, but it's called the nothing. The nothing. Right? Was that not what it was? It was the nothing. And it was consuming everything. And that is exactly what stress and overwhelm can do. So again, overwhelm as a verb, it is to pour down upon and bury beneath. It means to crush and overpower. And it means to defeat, or, now the realm of duality here, it can also mean to astonish. You can be both overwhelmed in a negative, toxic manner, which that probably is the majority of the time that we experience overwhelm. And that ultimately is the context in which we're discussing overwhelm today, is the more negative side, the defeat, the again, exactly, yes, Therese, the nothing, but the overwhelm, right? It's a nothing. It's something that is all consuming if you let it, and it's going to consume your light. And that's exactly what happens on the never ending story, is the nothing is consuming the life, the everything. Emerald City. right? Fantasia? Or is the Emerald City the Wizard of Oz? The Emerald City is the Wizard of Oz. Whoa! There's a whole lot of... There's something happening here with these two references to these two movies right here. So you all, exactly, yeah, if you all got some input about some connections there, what's your intuition saying? Because I'd love to hear what you feel is happening with this correlation between, and then all of a sudden Emerald City is what it comes to mind. Maybe because I'm a Kansas girl and I have a thing with the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. I digress though. So overwhelm also means to astonish, like to be overwhelmed with fascination, to be overwhelmed with even joy, to be overwhelmed with excitement, anticipation. So it can be a positive, okay? But as I said, we're going to look at it in the context of more of that negative perspective and what we can do to reclaim our power from that space, right? Ooh, Goddess Therese, her intuition says, in reference to why my mind has chosen both, why my intuition has chosen both, to reference the Fantasia, the never-ending story where the lost princess is, right? And then Emerald City all of a sudden out of the Wizard of Oz. And she says that it leads to things, and then there's a colon, I had to see this, leads to things are not always as they seem. Ooh, Goddess Therese, that is so great, especially in correlation to stress and overwhelm. Because what is happening when we are super stressed and feeling overwhelmed? In a negative way, right? We are blowing things out of proportion. We're seeing things that are not as they seem, right? We are seeing things through the lens of, oh my God, I got to get this done yesterday. Oh my God, this is so heavy. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this. This is so much. Again, to pour down and bury beneath, that is overwhelm, to overwhelm. And then stress is a strain or a force that strains and deforms. Like, these words almost go hand in hand here. Or to crush, to overpower. And that's what stress will do and does to us when we let it. When we allow ourselves to continue to stay in a state of stress and overwhelm, we end up creating a base point of that stress and overwhelm where you're not really likely going to be experiencing much of the good in life, because that's like your signature right there, is stressed, overwhelmed. Life is just too much. And listen, I'm going to tell you all right now, I be feeling this. Oh, woo. And even today, like I said, even today, but right before, because there was that part of me that wanted to sabotage my showing up today. And it's that space of like, I made the commitment. Now remember, I'm leading by example here. And if I fall off the wagon, y'all get to give me some hella shit. And I'm serious about that, because that's where accountability comes in. So here I am. I got to be accountable to myself at first and show up. Now, I went digging for something. I don't even remember. I was looking through some old notes that I have, because I've been coaching for several years now. And so I have other things and other notes in places. So I went looking for something in particular that I know that I have, right? And literally I pulled out a bunch of papers, and at the very top, even little papers here. And one of these things, like, this is how, again, the universe works. When you let the universe in, when you let these messages come in, okay? This is how it works. So the very top of one of these little pages of notes that I have, because I feel, especially on what it feels like an uphill climb on especially Instagram, especially Instagram. YouTube is just as challenging in its own way to have the reach and impact that I know I'm here to have, and that the universe keeps pushing me toward, you know, creating and building and doing as my sole purpose here. So for me to be in that space of, again, it's one of my patterns, one of my cycles to sabotage my showing up. The very top of this, because I used external validation, I'm breaking that. We're going to talk about that later as well, validation and such. But at the very top of this paper, 90% of success is showing up. 90% of success is showing up. And I went, okay, universe, I hear you loud and clear. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. This is me doing it. In spite of whatever stress and overwhelm I may be experiencing. But that's the thing, is I sit here before you, I almost didn't put on I was about to just come show up grubby and grungy and just whatever. And I'm like, no. I know that I want to reuse these videos for long term. I want to feel proud of the work that I create. I want to show up with a clear intention. I want to be fully present and not in in an icky funk, in spite of any stress and overwhelm I may be feeling in my life, because we each are the catalysts in each our own lives. So you have the power to dissipate this stress and overwhelm. Now, I wanted to, seeing just like I do, let me fix my legs here. Woo! There's a quote. Of course I have a quote. And I literally just heard this yesterday. And it's so perfect because, again, to reiterate, the definition of overwhelm is to pour down upon and bury beneath. The quote: sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but actually, you've been planted. You see, in order to get to where we want to go in life, we have to break down all of our own internal barriers. We have to be the ones to recognize that this dark place is simply that we have opened our eyes to realize that, wait a minute, I've created this. And now I need to look for and find my light because it's here. That's why it may seem so dark. Remember that quote too, that when the world seems very dark, maybe it's because you are the light. It's kind of like the eye of the storm. You don't see that which others see. Yeah, with that, let's have a sip-a-roo, shall we? So with that, stress and overwhelm. Now, this is also something that works for obviously your fear, your anxiety. As someone who used to have anxiety so severe that I couldn't even leave my house and then would have panic attacks. Like, that's what stress and overwhelm turns into, you guys, is literally panic attacks, anxiety all the time. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't love yourself and give yourself what you need to dissipate this stress and overwhelm, to alleviate this, it's going to just build and build and build and build. And it's going to truly bury you. And that's why I love that the word overwhelm says that, because that's what stress does. It's overwhelming. It can overwhelm you if you don't take your power back within it. And so how do you get to take your power back amidst stress and overwhelm? Well, first and foremost, breathing. Breathing. You've got to ground yourself in this present moment, right? You've got to come into the present And you do that through your breath, by focusing on your breath. And there is something, this wonderful practice that came just organically through myself years ago, almost a decade ago. Oh my gosh. It is a decade ago, because I'm 45 now, and it was when I was 35. So it was literally where, again, when I would have the panic attacks, and because you don't want to breathe heavy. You don't want to, we're not in the Lamont, we're not birthing a baby here. We're not birthing a baby. But you want to take slow, steady, controlled, and focused breaths. You want to have control over your breath, not your body having control over you, your mind having control over you. You want to have that control. So you intentionally, and this practice, because I actually gave it a name, I call it the CSP practice, which is the calm, serene, peaceful practice. So with your breath, let's all do it together here. I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to take a breath, and you're going to say, I am calm. You're going to take a breath and exhale. Just say, I am serene. And then you're going to inhale and exhale, and you're going to say, I am peaceful. And then we're going to do this together. We're going to do it about 2 or 3 times. All right? Here we go. Close your eyes, and let's take a breath. I am calm. And inhale. I am serene. And inhale again. I am peaceful. And every time you do this, I want you to feel your body relax just a little bit more. Let's do it one more time. Ready? Breathe in and breathe deep. Fill your whole body, your diaphragm with that fresh, clean oxygen. Well, mostly fresh, clean oxygen. We won't talk about that right now, but yeah, here we go. Breathe in. I am calm. I am serene. I am peaceful. I definitely feel more calm, serene, and peaceful myself. And I do hope you do as well. And I hope that you remember that practice, the CSP practice, calm, serene, peaceful. That's what it's called. And it's just something so simple. You're focusing on your breath. You're focusing on calm. You're focusing on serene. And you're focusing on peaceful. And then I assure you that's exactly what you're going to be experiencing more and more and more. Instead of the oppressive, suffocating, what is another word here? Crushing force of overwhelm and stress. Okay? You are the catalyst, goddess. You have the power. Okay? And with that, let's find out with our power of surrender today. That's what I was led from the very beginning today. Woo! Is we're going to use the power of surrender. Oof! Well, there we go. Of stress and overwhelm. Stress and overwhelm. Where our power of surrender is. And it's just absolutely, like I already mentioned, you know, that stress of not being good enough and not going to get it done in time and you're not capable and, well, guess what? And you're not, you know, never works out in your favor, whatever BS your mind tries to tell you. Well, guess what? That literally is the card. One of the 2 cards that just jumped out of the deck as I was shuffling. And that is surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. I love that we just cannot make this shit up. I love. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. So really, truly, if you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you really just got to look at what you're thinking about. Okay? And more than likely, you have some programming, some beliefs, and we talk about that later too. We have some stories or whatever playing on replay constantly, and they're just feeding this stress and overwhelm. And a stress, especially in this world right now with all the crazy chaos, and it's just about to be getting even more chaotic because we're truly in ascension. We are in this whole massive awakening that's underway here, and that means that as we traverse through this inversion space, there's going to be a whole lot of things happening, but that's why, again, you focus where your power is. When you feel stressed and overwhelmed by the world outside, your world inside, CSP practice. Be grounding, be breathing, be focusing your energy and clearing up any beliefs that have you feeling stressed and overwhelmed because you're feeding it. You're feeding it. All right. And of course, same when it comes to stress and overwhelmed. And when you look at the beliefs that you're having, the reasons why, remember we talked about intention and purpose, why is going to get you to the root cause faster than anything else. Why? Well, guess what? I assure you that some of that stress and overwhelm is because you're loading your plate too much because of people pleasing. Because you want to make sure everybody else is taken care of because, oh, they can't take care of themselves. They can't do it for themselves. Now, clearly, I'm being facetious with regards to individuals who really do require assistance. Don't get sass with me, because I will get sass right back. That makes it the wrong bitch. Okay. But seriously, if you can do it, they can do it. Remind yourself of this. And it's incredible how people-pleasing is such a massive form of self-sabotage, and we talk about that later as well. Massive form of self-sabotage, of distracting ourselves with worrying about and taking care of everybody else, and then we end up left drained and depleted, and that means far more susceptible to all the negative things like, illness and stress and overwhelmed. It's really, truly, again, comes down to you looking for where your power is and letting go, walking away from where it is not. Okay? So that's what we have for today. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself as well as the habit of people pleasing. And they definitely do go hand in hand, right? Because you believe that you have to do certain things, be a certain way for other people in order for them to like you. Nah. Let me be an example as I more and more get back to more and more reclaiming my power and being in this energy, in this space and place that I know I've supposed to have been all this time and where I'm supposed to be. And that is being fully authentically me, which we talk about authenticity and all of that too as well in the coming weeks. So be sure that you are subscribed, you're following. I go live. The next live is going to be Wednesday. I have the next 3 days off. I have some life things, some commitments that I've made in that realm, taking care of my little buddy. He's 7. It's my little buddy. I've known him since, I've known Mom since before my little buddy was born. So let's just say that. So I have that to do and just need to, regroup and do what I need in order to come back strong on Wednesday. And so I encourage you to do the same, Goddess, to take this time and really look at the ways that stress and overwhelm may be kind of burying you in your life and be putting into practice what you need so that you can, sprout. through that and still blossom and grow, or grow and blossom, however way you want to see that. So if you are in a space where you don't know what's up, what's down, which way around, where you're headed, where you're going, what you want to do, where you want to go, you just don't know, I am here for you. We can book a coaching session. We can use cards, no cards, oracle cards, just power of surrender cards. We have also, I even have special cards that I don't even use on my lives that I actually only use in my coaching calls when I'm so led. All right. So you can book your 30-minute session with me at iamempowered.as.me. Again, that is iamempowered.as.me. And yeah, it's all about looking for, finding, and reclaiming your power. That's what we do around here. That's what I'm about. I'm doing it in my life. I have been doing it for years. And it's definitely something we're going to be doing the rest of our lives until it's peace out, world, and, you know, it's your ticket home. Yeah, we didn't come to just coast. We came to actually do some shit. So, you know, do some shit while you're here, okay? But at the same time, love yourself. Give yourself what you need. And remember that the power to allow yourself the life you desire and deserve, the power to dissipate stress and overwhelm so that you can feel better about life and the life that you do desire and deserve. That power is in your hands. Because I promise you, that power has always been inside you. Namaste.